So, all right. And we have Mr. Anthony Rocco that can help me out with this because Anthony, look, it's been a hell of a day. I got to ask you the first question, which is, are the Pittsburgh Penguins a playoff team again?
I don't know if they're a playoff team because their goaltending is not the best, but Karlsson on Pittsburgh isn't good for anybody. It's not. I think too much is made of him being a bad defenseman defensively. Sure, he's not Jacob Slavin, but the way he controls the puck, it's his way of playing defense. The Penguins are gonna possess the puck more. And when you talk about the power play, playing with the talented guys that he's going to be playing with, like Crosby and Malkin and Gensel, it's going to make the Penguins a much better team offensively. So it's not good. Not happy about it. But kudos to Kyle Dubas for pulling off the trade.
Anthony, is this really a defense that excites you, or the one that gives you caution?
I mean, no. I mean, P.O. Joseph isn't really good defensively. He's more of a puck mover. Chad Rudwheel, I mean, he's a good depth six guy. Pettersson's solid. I'm not sold on Ryan Graves. I mean, he's not bad, but he's not a top pairing defenseman. Chris Letang is getting older, but I mean, overall, it's not terrible. Like I said, they're not going to be known for their defense, but as I said, they still have a bad goaltending. But Karlsson's going to make Penguins a much better team offensively, and don't discount that. He's a really good player, and like I said, he moves the puck really well. Again, he's not a shutdown guy by any means, but his style of play, how he possesses the puck, that's the way he really defends, by maintaining the puck and keeping away from other teams. So he's going to make Pittsburgh better for sure.
All right. So which teams in the Metro should be really worried about this?
I mean, Washington, because I think the Penguins and Capitals are those two teams that are going to still hold on and try to compete for a playoff spot. But I think Karlsson, addition makes them a little more dangerous than the Capitals. Now, again, I don't think that the Penguins are bumping any of the like the Rangers, Devils, even the Islanders out of a playoff spot. Because again, I go back to their goaltending, still not good. But they may win their fair share of 6-5 games.
I mean, Anthony, I just keep looking at Pittsburgh's. I keep bringing this up, whether or not people, you want to correct me, go ahead, put it in the comments. Am I an idiot? But they're -2 in goal differential. I don't look at those goaltending. Now you got a goaltending tandem of Alex Nedeljkovic and Tristan Jarry. And Jarry's going to get injured because he does every year. Alex Nedeljkovic is going to be able to step in the crease and keep this team afloat.
I mean, if Nedeljkovic can replicate how he played when he first came on the scene with Carolina, where I think he had like a 919 save percentage or something along those lines.
Outstanding first season.
Yeah. Then maybe the Penguins, can have that hope. But if he plays the way he did the last 2 years, it's not going to be good because, he was real bad. So
to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, I had him in fantasy and he lost me a lot of games. So I guess one more question before we just kind of broaden this out, take some comments again. Anthony, is this the last gasp of the Crosby era?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Dubas made this trade because he's trying to utilize the last remaining, sliver of hope the Penguins have of winning a cup, while Crosby, Malkin, Letang really still all have, I guess if you want to say top levels of play left. I think that's what he's going for. And, if they don't win the cup, this year or next year, it may eventually be looked at as a, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say it's going to be looked at as a poor move because they didn't give up much. They gave up a first and a second. They didn't give up any top prospects. So honestly, I take back what I was.
Well, they don't have any top prospects.
Well, I mean, Owen Pickering and Samuel Poulin, their top. They kept both those guys. They kept Marcus Pettersson, who's probably the best defensive defenseman they have. They kept all those guys. So even if they don't win, would they give up 2 guys in Petrie and Granlund that they were desperate to get rid of? I mean, come on.
Jan Ruda.
This is really a no lose trade for them. It really is. They didn't give up. They gave up nothing.
All right. And I'll bite on that because let's go back to where the Penguins were because I went over to just to look at what they got. They lost another first round pick. There's a conditional first round pick that they could get that they could lose again next year. So they might not have draft picks for 2024 and 2025. No second round pick next year. No third round. Sorry, 2 years. No third round pick next year. And is this team going to be able to restock the cupboard in any way?
I mean, there's ways of doing it. If they really fall off a cliff this year, I mean, think about it like this: Jake Gensel's a pending UFA next year. So if he doesn't sign an extension, let's say the Penguins are maybe bad, maybe Dubas makes a decision to try to retool, and you move a guy like him, you're going to get a boatload. If you were to move Marcus Pettersson, they'll get some assets. So there's things they could do if things don't go well to get younger or get more assets. And don't Kyle Dubas for yes, he didn't win in Toronto, and he maybe did some questionable things. Maybe he held on to the big four too long. But he's a good general manager. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
I do want to note that Jeff Carter does come off the books.
Mark, take off your
Jeff
shirt.
Carter goes off the books next year. Thank you very much. Go Palms.
Take it off, Mark.
I can't. I got a Ruzioni on. Gotta come with the USA. That I was repping that this morning. But it's just, I look at this team and I'm not confident on this. And yeah, I'm kind of doing my Mark flip out a little bit, but it's just, I don't think they're going to keep the puck out of the net, and that's their number one problem. And Erik Karlsson's not going to help you with that. That's what they should have been doing. They should have been addressing how they're going to be doing, keeping the puck out of their own net. Now, again, line combinations. They got Noel Achari, who's a good fourth line guy. They got Lars Eller, who's a good third line center.
Yeah.
But he's even getting up there in years.
Remember though, again, they're gonna be missing their best goal scorer for probably till after Halloween, and Jake Gensel.
Yeah, Jake Gensel, hell of a player. And look, so that means Brian Rust then has to step in and fill Gensel's role, which is fine. Brian Rust could do it.
But don't forget they also added Riley Smith too.
Yeah. Who's another guy that's getting a little bit long in the tooth, 32 years old. So, I mean, I'll rip guys on their ages, but I'm not trying to play NHL hockey. Well, the problem is that I golf too much. That's one story. It's just let's take a couple more comments on this.
They really should have done is they should have used assets to get John Gibson, but the problem with that is Gibson would have required real assets like Pickering and Poulin. But that's what they should have spent their assets in a goaltender.
All right, John is saying great trade by Dubas.
It is a good trade.
All right, see, John, this is the reason why I make sure that there's somebody on me. I don't like this trade from the roster building perspective, but as far as the trade goes, I think you're right. I think this is a good trade. Like they didn't give up anything. Mark's got a barrel chest. Good for good for slamming people into the boards.
Brandon, the problem is the goaltending. Tristan Jarry is a bad goaltender.
Especially playoffs.
Which one of the teams? I tell you, the Rangers aren't missing the playoffs with Igor Shesterkin. The Islanders aren't missing the playoffs with Ilya Sorokin. It's likely just not going to happen. And then from there, I mean, the Devils are too explosive and young and fast. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, could they push out a wild card team like Florida? I mean, yeah, it's possible, but there are just so many teams that are better defensively and in the net than them that I don't think it's a lock. I don't. I know you disagree, but there's a lot of other teams that the goaltending is just so much better than.
Brandon asked right over here, are they a cup contender? Maybe. Are they a playoff team? Yes. Here's the thing. We talked about this for a while, and everybody's darling this year is any of the teams that are in the Atlantic, whether it's Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa. That's all the things that everybody always wants to talk about with them. Do you really? I mean, are the Penguins really screaming that this is a team that couldn't beat the Chicago Blackhawks last year in the last week of the season? Like,
and again, that was because Tristan Jarry fell apart at the end of the game. He let in 2 horrendous goals that pretty much sealed the deal.
Look, we're not trying to slam Pittsburgh, and we're certainly not trying to say that they don't have the Sidney Crosby is still playing at an MVP level. It's just when it comes to this, I think Pittsburgh would have been better trying to do a soft rebuild. Oh, he's actually asking this, and I don't think it's a bad point. Did they actually want to beat Chicago?
I mean, yeah, if they missed the playoffs, maybe they would have been. Well, they did miss the playoffs. They still didn't win the lottery, so I don't. I don't. I mean, the slim chance that they could have got Bedard, I highly doubt it. I think that
there's the slightest chance that you're not, and players aren't playing for Connor Bedard in their season. They're playing. Oh, all right. That's what Brandon's saying. All right, I get it. What Brandon's saying by that is if Pittsburgh beat Chicago, Hextall is still in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, maybe that's.
But you're not thinking about getting your boss fired at that moment either. You're just thinking about trying to win a game. Because what happens if let me play devil's advocate with you on this. What happens if they end up keeping Brian Burke and Ron Hextall and firing Mike Sullivan and he's the scapegoat? You don't want to. You never want to risk that because again, Mike Sullivan's done a hell of a job with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it's just again, I'm not confident about Alex Nedeljkovic. It's having to take a lot of games for this team. Yes, we're going to get to that one as well.
That was a good deal. That was a great deal. So now they added Dumba, Drizly, Kerfoot, Zucker. They're Logan Cooley. Arizona's going to compete.
I think Arizona's going to be a lot better than what people think, and I think the Mullet Arena effect is going to be a real thing. Let me go back to what Alon's saying right here. Off topic, how much would Boston give us for JGP, or is he now untouchable with AD gone?
With who gone?
AD. I have no idea who AD is. So I was hoping you did.
AD.
Alon, who's AD? JGP is easy.
I mean,
Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's untouchable.
No, and he's certainly not untouchable.
Boston needs help at center. I mean, Zach had a career year. He's never been a 50-point guy. Is he really going to replicate that? You're left with Charlie Coyle, Morgan Geeky as your centers. So, I mean, if Boston, let's say at this point in the offseason, well, then again, Erik Karlsson was just traded today in August, so who knows? But typically, you're not going to get an elite center at this point of the year. So, if you're not going to get a guy like Elias Lindholm or Mark Scheifele, I mean, why not just try to do center by committee and just have a bunch of just, solid centers? So, yeah, you could do Pajot, Zaka, and Coyle at center ice, and in exchange, just get DeBrusk. They would have to add to it, though. I mean, in theory, it would work, but Boston might just go into the year what they have and see what transpires. If they could, compete, and then maybe at the deadline you add Mark Scheifele, who's probably going to be dealt. He's got 1 year left. I don't think he's staying in Winnipeg.
I'd be shocked if he's not dealt earlier, Anthony.
I don't at this point in time. I don't see it. I think he's there to the deadline, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying because even though like early season trades don't happen as much anymore, it's just I just don't see Winnipeg really doing it. And we're gonna get Anthony right back on in a second. Brandon, it's an interesting take what you had over there. I still don't think players. The thing is, for us fans, we could think like stuff like that, like, if X happens, they're really thinking about trying to go for Connor Bedard. And as far as it goes, coaches coach to win games, players play to win games. It's just that simple. I mean, not everybody is trying to tank whatsoever or at all. I think if you ever have that permeating through your organization, no good will ever come from that. And it's not good. You don't want that in your organization. Get that rot out of it. All right. We did mention it. Granny was mentioned it before. Matt Dumba, Elliot Friedman says he goes to the Arizona Coyotes for $4 million. If Matt Dumba could get back to half as good as what he was the previous year, not last season, great deal for the Coyotes. And it's even a great deal if he could do a 1-year prove it deal, build up his stock the way Shane Gostisbehere did. That's a good thing. All right. I'm going to go for about another 5 more minutes, everybody. I want to get what your takes are. Am I the one that's wrong? Am I the one that's wrong? Anthony's right about this. And so is Philk. And even, you know what? So is Johnny. Johnny was saying it on here. The Penguins fan that was, John. He was saying great trade by Dubas. Yeah, Dubas pulled off a great trade. I still don't see where it's going to help them win. That's the reason why I would have. I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to be giving up more goals. David is saying Mark has got the type of chest where he blinds people. Brandon was saying the worst Penguins team in years misses the playoffs by 1 game. The discussion is whether or not they're a playoff team. Well, because again, here's the thing. This is where Anthony highlighted this. I think the reason why I'm thinking like that is because I've seen the decline of the Penguins for the last few years, and excluding 2018 and excluding 2018, since 2015, 2016, if they won a playoff series, they won a Stanley Cup. And that's just excluding 2018. But I mean, you're talking about a team that's underachieved to the Montreal Canadiens in the bubble. Well, you could say it's a bubble, fine. That's it on that. But they lost to the New York Rangers that they were on their knees, and they led in the third period in every single one of the closeout games, and by 2 goals in games 5 and game 6, and they couldn't close the deal. And it's just that. And again, they could have done a soft rebuild and got this team back to a Stanley Cup contender. I don't see it with this. Instead, they're doubling down, they're tripling down. They're right now, if you ask me what the personification is of the Pittsburgh Penguins, it's like a friend walking up to you to go, yo, do you have any more of those offensive defensemen? I don't see it. And you know what? The league is better with the Penguins when they're good. Willie's saying, just not a fan of having 2 injury-prone defensemen who do the same thing. Yeah, and by the way, we hope Chris Letang is 100% healthy. Just want to get that through out there. Jay is saying the Penguins still miss the playoffs. They get better on the power play. They don't get better defensively, which is a big need for them. Bad gamble, in my opinion. David is saying, are the Penguins better today? Yes. Are they better than the top 3 or 4 teams in the Metro? Probably not. And I think the thing about, and I've said this before, and correct me if I'm wrong on this philosophy, feel free to do that. But if that's the case, if you're looking at this going, they're going to score more goals. Great. How are they keeping those goals out of the net? And again, I'm saying this because I have no faith in Tristan Jarry, especially the second half of the season. He's been an all-star. And the guy's an all-star goalie. Yeah, great. So is Cam Talbot. All right. Alon is saying, love what AZ has done this offseason. Isles had one of the worst 5 off seasons with no top line winger with Barzell and Morana contract extensions minus Sorokin. Sometimes the best thing is not to say anything at all. David is saying the Pens have lost. Pens have lost because of Laugh taking off his helmet. That's the only reason why they lost. Oh, and the penalty on Rodriguez and whatever other excuses. Yeah, I know. You're going to hear about that all the time. You're going to hear about that. But by the way, it all happened with this in a span of 2 seconds, and the puck was in the back of the net. There's always the excuse. That's the only reason why they lost. They would have coughed up the goal in another 2 minutes anyway. Actually, David, a great metaphor for that is my brother said, I pointed out that in the 1992 playoffs, 1992 AFC divisional playoffs, the famous Houston Oilers collapse against the Buffalo Bills. I pointed out the Don Beebe touchdown. He steps out of bounds. And with there being so much momentum, my brother looks at me and goes, Mark, they would have scored on the next play. Don't worry about it. And I agree with you on that because that's what would have happened on this. The Rangers were coming. The Penguins are not handling it well. And Tristan Jarry gives up soft goals. Sunsets in the East. Tristan Jarry gives up a soft goal to lose the playoff series. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. So anyway, Tom Wilson is overpaid now. I don't like that contract. I don't think it lends well to his age, but it is rewarding your own player for what they did in the past. Willie is saying unless the cap goes up. So hey, look, if the Penguins make the playoffs, I will gladly. If the Penguins make the playoffs next year, I'll gladly have an autographed like Sidney Crosby memorabilia strictly for Penguins fans. Let me say it like that. But although we might do that anyway one day for everybody because we're not just for the New York teams. But this is everybody. What do you think about the deal? 54% is saying that the Penguins are not a playoff team. That is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. Everybody, thanks for joining in on this. I broke it down. There's 12. The Penguins are going to be too old. That's a big concern. It's a big concern. You're talking about a league that keeps getting younger and faster. And go back and look at the big goals in that series. Letang was a better screen than Kreider could be. Yep. But then again, look, Shesterkin definitely wasn't himself the first 3 games. We know this. Jake Gensel was on fire in those first 4 games. We know that. But I mean, the Penguins should honestly, you could say the Penguins should have won that series. You could also say the Rangers should have won that series a lot faster. Don't forget the Capo Caco interference call was not a good thing. And then you're talking about a 2-2 series going back to the Garden. And that series had so many different storylines. Look, if Penguins fans, if I angered you today, I'm sorry. That's my take. This team is not ready. This team is not going to compete. It's good trade. Good trade. You got Erik Karlsson, another superstar, what everybody needs. Superstars are like hot sauce. You just dab it on if there's not enough flavor in there. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Alon was saying Wilson at $6.5 million in 4 to 6 years, or Lee at $7 million in 5 to 7 years. Which one is worse? You still got 28 goals a season from Anders Lee, and you got some production. However, I understand what you're saying, and I don't know which one. And 6.5 for 6 years. I don't know. We'll see what Tom Wilson's going to be. I'm not in love with that deal. All right, guys. So gonna start playing the music to get us out of here. I'll take about a couple more comments. I know I probably angered fans. And also, yeah. The Penguins are going to be going into a massive valley soon. A massive valley. And this is a decline that's been happening a lot over the last few years. And it's I don't think it's going to get better. And yeah, my confidence in them has been very much shaken, especially ever since losing the Islanders in the first round in 2021. But I mean, 2022, don't forget this team got shellacked by the Rangers in back-to-back games in March when they were trying to make the playoffs. Erik Karlsson isn't going to just fix all that. All right. David was saying San Jose in this trade gave up the best player, took out some salary, and all they got was a late first. It was definitely a bad trade for them. We're going to see about that because, you know what? How about this? Let me run this scenario by you. San Jose, this is a top 10 predicted. So it ends up going to next year. And let's say the Penguins really go in the tank next year. Like, they just aren't a good team. Then great trade for them. You don't know how it's going to end up yet. And that's why I got to hope for the first. Because I would say with the Karlsson trade going to Ottawa and also the Matt Duchene trade going to, I should say, from Ottawa, the Karlsson trade, and the Matt Duchene trade going to Ottawa, that your first thought is, wow, that's all it was. And now look at that trade. Everybody is looking at that trade thinking it's the most brilliant trade ever. I mean, just look at the Rangers with the trades for Rick Nash and the one for Ryan McDonough. The Ryan McDonough one looks like they got nothing. And Ryan McDonough and JT Miller, and they got nothing back. As opposed to, say, the Rick Nash trade, which looks like a complete bargain because he got Ryan Lindgren, Ryan Spooner. It became Ryan Strome, regardless of what I say about the fact that he can't hit an empty net. And yeah. All right, well, we're at 57 minutes right now, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. A lot of technical difficulties going back and forth because I had to start up, unfortunately, without Anthony. I thank every single Pittsburgh fan for getting on here today because you're coming into the Lions Den, but we're not against you. We're just here to talk hockey. That's all we're here to do. And the other thing is, I mean, this was just an impromptu thing, so there's a lot of ripping on my part. So everybody, thanks for joining. We're going to be talking about this a lot more with Philk, but I'm sorry, Pittsburgh fans. I can't help but look at this trade and think Philk going to go see Metallica tonight at MetLife, and Kyle Dubas is king nothing. Let's not forget that. The guy's been a GM for 10 years or whatever, like 6 or 7, and he's got one playoff series won. Quick, give him the GM of the Year award. All right. Strome is at least still in the NHL. Yeah. Well, again, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Strome. Willie's saying, let's go Rangers. So this week, we're still hoping to try to get Neil Smith on at some point, and we're looking to get Jim Dowd on as soon as possible as well. Pride of Brick, New Jersey, and former Stanley Cup champion. So there's a lot of things that are going on, and we're trying to make more moves. So by the way, if you want to in the comments, Penguins fans, go ahead, roast me in the comments, because I mean, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna be. So, as the song is saying, everybody, goodbye. Time to go. Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you Wednesday night.